Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. Today's video is in collab with Mandy at All Things Mandy. I'll have her channel listed in the description box below, so as soon as you're done watching my video, make sure you head on over to her channel, show her some love, and let her know that I sent you. If you're coming to my channel from Mandy's, welcome. I do weekly what's for dinner videos and grocery hauls, plus recipes and more. I hope you take a look around my channel and that you'll consider subscribing. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. Today I'll be sharing 5 easy and budget-friendly holiday appetizers with you. These would be perfect for Christmas, New Year's Eve, or any other occasion. These recipes are so easy and they are super delicious, so let's get into them. First up, I'm making cheddar bacon ranch roll-ups. I love making this. I make these all the time. They make such a yummy snack and appetizer, and they're so simple, really budget friendly. Here are the ingredients that you'll need. You'll need some flour tortillas. I like to use the burrito size, some softened cream cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, some dry ranch dressing mix, and some bacon. You can, of course, cook up some bacon, but I just use bacon pieces to make it nice and easy. That's all you need. Let me show you how to make them. To the bowl, I'm going to add in the cream cheese and give it a stir just to add in a little bit more air and loosen it up a little bit. Then I'm going to add in the dry ranch dressing mix, the bacon pieces, and the shredded cheddar cheese. Stir that until it's well combined, and then I'll set that to the side. Now, a couple quick notes about this. This recipe, as you can see, it's not difficult at all, but you do want to make sure that you make it maybe an hour or two in advance. The cream cheese does need a little bit of time to set up. Another quick note here, I did like quarter the recipe because I was just making this for my husband and I, but I'll have the recipe listed in the description box below. So what I like to do is take the tortillas and pop them into the microwave for about 10 seconds just to soften them up a little bit. I'm going to add the cream cheese mixture and spread it out into an even layer, and you want to make sure you go to the edges of the tortilla, and then you just kind of roll it up, and then that's it. We're going to cover these in plastic wrap, or wrap them in plastic wrap rather, and then pop these into the refrigerator for, like I said, an hour or two. You can even make these the day before if that's easier for you. All right, so once that has set in the refrigerator, I'm just going to take these out and slice them up and then just serve them. Like I said, so super easy, and these are yummy to just kind of pop in your mouth and snack on. Next up, I'm making bacon wrapped water chestnuts. I got this recipe probably 15 or 20 years ago from a family friend, and I've never made it. I don't even think I ever had these, but I know several people that had them and loved them. And so it's been sitting in my recipe box. I've been meaning to make it and just hadn't gotten around to it. And I figured no time like the present. So I was excited to try these, and they were delicious. They're so good. I recommend you all give this recipe a try. Now, I will be honest, the ingredients kind of sound a little weird. A couple of them may seem a little weird. Don't let that turn you off. These were yummy. So here are the ingredients. You'll need some brown sugar, chili sauce. The recipe specifically called for Miracle Whip, and I happen to have some on hand, but I'm sure you could probably use mayonnaise if you prefer that. You'll need some bacon. I would not recommend using thick sliced bacon for this. I would just use regular bacon. And then you need whole water chestnuts. Now, I had a little bit of a hard time finding the whole water chestnuts. I finally found them at Food Lion. I'm sure you could use sliced water chestnuts and just kind of put a couple together. But those are the ingredients. Let me show you how I make these. They're really easy. I'm going to start out by pre-cooking my bacon a little bit. So I like to cook my bacon in the oven. I lay down a wire rack on a cookie sheet and then put my bacon on top of that and just pop it into the oven and cook it until it's done to my liking. Now, for this particular recipe, you do not want to overcook your bacon. You just want to cook it until it's nice and flexible. I cooked mine for, I believe, about 10 minutes. I drained the water chestnuts. Now, the full recipe calls for 2 cans, but again, I halved it because it was just my husband and I, but I'll have the recipe typed out in the description box below. I drained the water chestnuts really well, and I took my bacon slices and cut them in half. I'm going to wrap each water chestnut with one of the half slices of bacon and then secure it with a toothpick, and then I'm going to place it into my baking dish. I line the baking dish with some aluminum foil just for easier cleanup. Once I have all of those prepped, I'm going to set that aside. And in this small mixing bowl, I'm adding the brown sugar, the Miracle Whip, and the chili sauce. I'm going to stir that until it's combined really well, and then pour that over the bacon wrapped water chestnuts. This is going to go into the preheated oven set at 350 degrees and they'll bake for 45 minutes. Here they are out of the oven. I allowed them to cool for a couple minutes and then transferred them to this Christmas tree serving plate. I think we got this at the Dollar Tree. And like I said, these were yummy. They were good. I will definitely make these again and I recommend you all give them a try. Next, I'm making what my husband calls Aunt Pam's dip. Now, Aunt Pam is not his actual aunt. It's a family friend, but she was very close to him, just like an aunt would be. So she used to make this dip for different gatherings and stuff like that, and he loved it. So he requests that I make it every Christmas, and so I'm happy to do that for him. I don't have her exact recipe, but I just kind of looked on Pinterest years ago based on what he told me was in it or what he remembered, and he says it tastes exactly the way that she made it. So let me show you how we make it. It's super easy and delicious. Here are the ingredients that I use, but before I get into the ingredients, a quick note. Years before I met my husband, I got a recipe from a lady that I used to work with for a taco dip, and I made it that way for years, and that's honestly the way that I prefer it, but I wanted to share it this way because it's delicious still, and it's my husband's favorite and one of his family favorites. But I'll kind of walk through the differences between the two recipes as I'm making it. There really aren't a lot of differences. Both of the taco dips are very similar, but for the Aunt Pam's version, I'm going to use shredded cheddar cheese, sour cream, softened cream cheese, and then you need salsa. You could use your favorite jarred, you could make your own, but I will say it's best if you use a chunkier salsa. I'm just using what I had on hand today, and it was a little bit liquidy. I mean, it's fine either way, just if you use a more juicy salsa, it can get a little watery as it sits out a little while. So like I said, it's kind of best if you use a chunky salsa. And then Aunt Pam's dip didn't call for this, but I like to add a little bit of taco seasoning. So let me show you how I put this together. I don't remember if I mentioned this, but I'll of course have all the recipes in the description box below, and I'll type out Aunt Pam's version of the taco dip as well as the other version that I was telling you about. I'll have both of those in the description box. So in this bowl, I'm just adding in the cream cheese, and I like to give it a little stir just to kind of loosen it up. I'm then going to add in the sour cream and stir that until it's well combined. Then I'm going to add in the taco seasoning and again stir that until it's well combined. Then I'm going to take that mixture and add it to my serving dish. Normally I use like a 9x9 casserole dish. I'm using this little tray that my mom got me at the Dollar Tree because I'm having the recipe for my husband and I tonight. But you just want to spread that cream cheese layer out, and then I'm going to add my salsa on top. Now the main difference between Aunt Pam's dip and the other taco dip is instead of using salsa, the other taco dip lays down that exact same cream cheese, sour cream, taco seasoning mixture. You lay that down, and then you sprinkle diced tomatoes, diced onions, and diced bell peppers on top. So basically salsa, just a little less liquidy. And I like the crunch from the fresh vegetables. But you just add that layer, and whether you're using the salsa or the chopped onions, bell peppers, and tomatoes, you add that layer, and then finally you add the shredded cheddar cheese. That's it. I'm going to cover this with some foil or plastic wrap, and you'll want to put this in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes just so the cream cheese hardens back up a little bit. Now, like I mentioned earlier, especially if you're using salsa, as it sits, it will get a little bit watery, which is fine. I mean, it's still delicious. It just gets a little watery, so just be mindful of that. I wouldn't recommend making this the day before, unless you only made like the cream cheese layer and you left off the salsa and cheese, to add it closer to when you're serving it. I hope that makes sense. But here's the finished dip. We just serve it with tortilla chips. So yummy. Next up, I'm making bacon stuffed mushrooms. We love stuffed mushrooms and we love this recipe. I haven't made it in a few years and I need to make it more often. We really enjoy this. So I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. In this skillet over about medium heat, I'm adding in some bacon that I chopped up. I'm going to cook that until it's nice and crispy and then remove that with a slotted spoon on a paper towel lined plate and set that aside. Leave the bacon grease in this pan. I'm going to add in some finely minced onions and allow those to cook for just a couple minutes until they start to soften. Then I'm going to add in my mushroom stems that I finely chopped. Now I'm going to show you here how I like to clean my mushrooms. I personally don't like to run them under running water. I feel like it affects the texture of the mushroom, but if that's how you like to do yours, it's your kitchen, you do you. I just damp in a paper towel, rub the outside of the mushroom, and then remove the stem. And again, I chopped that up and added that. And as you can see here, whichever way you want to clean your mushrooms, you definitely want to make sure you clean them because they are dirty, as you can see from the paper towel. So once I've added my mushroom stems, I'm going to give that a stir. I'm going to add in some minced garlic. Again, give that a stir and cook that until the mushroom stems and the onions are soft. Now I'm adding the softened cream cheese, and once I add that cream cheese, I turn the heat down to low. I'm going to then add in the Parmesan cheese and the pepper. I do hold off on the salt at this point because you've got several things in here that are salty, so I always give it a taste and add it later. I'm going to add that crispy bacon that we cooked earlier back in, stir it, and once the cheeses are melted, that's it. Again, give it a taste and adjust the seasoning if needed, and then I'm going to set that aside just for a couple minutes to cool slightly so it's easier for me to handle. I have a baking sheet that I sprayed with some cooking spray. I laid my mushroom caps on the baking sheet, and you want to make sure that you put the side that had the mushroom stem up. That's the side that you're going to fill the little hole that the stem created. That's where you're going to put that filling, and you want to be generous with the filling. Once I've put the filling in the mushroom caps, that's it. These are going to go into the preheated oven. Again, it was set at 350 degrees, and these will bake for about 20 minutes. My mushrooms were on the smaller side, so it really took about 15 to 20 minutes. If you have really large mushrooms, it may take 20 to 30. You just want to cook them until the mushrooms are tender. So once they came out of the oven, I just removed them to a serving dish. And like I said, these are so good. We really love these stuffed mushrooms. Finally, I'm making a candy cane caprese. Now, my sister several years ago, I can't remember if it was for Christmas or what, but she made these little, I call them caprese bites. She took little bagel chips, added a slice of tomato, some fresh mozzarella, and basil, and served that as a little appetizer, and it was delicious, and we love caprese anyway. So I've made that for years since, she made it for us. But as I was scrolling through Pinterest one day, I saw this idea for a candy cane caprese, and it's basically the exact same things as those little bites, just kind of arranged differently, and it was super cute. This was so easy, and it's super festive. Let me show you how I did it. So easy. First, I've got some fresh mozzarella. I just got this at Walmart. I got 2 balls here, but I ended up only using 1 because, again, it was just my husband and I. But if you're doing this for a party, I would definitely recommend you using 2 balls. And then I have a slicing tomato. I'm going to slice the tomato as well, and then it's time to arrange it. I decided to do this on my large wooden cutting board, and it was pretty. If you have a large, pretty platter, that would work as well. And as you can see, I'm just kind of moving things around here. I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest with you. I just kind of went by a picture, but it's so easy. All you do is just make a candy cane shape and just alternate the mozzarella slices with the tomato slices. That's it. As long as you have that, white and red pattern, and you do the shape, it's going to look like a candy cane. Then for the basil, I'll just have some fresh basil. Again, I'm just trying to copy the picture that I saw on Pinterest. I laid down a couple of the leaves of basil. I'm taking this little bowl and adding this balsamic glaze from Trader Joe's. This stuff is delicious. I added some of that, and then I added these little bagel chips. I actually found these at the Dollar Tree, and they're delicious. They're yummy. So I'm just arranging that. Again, I'm not at all artistic. This is super easy. I know you can do this. Here's the finished product. This was yummy, and like I said, it was super cute and so easy. I mean, you just slice up the mozzarella, and honestly, you can get the logs of sliced mozzarella at the store and even make it easier on yourself. So I recommend you all give this a try. That's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some inspiration for your upcoming holiday celebrations. Like I said earlier, make sure you head on over to Mandy's channel, show her some love. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.